Good morning, children. Today we are starting lesson 12, The Shoemaker, from your new James English Reader book of class 8. So, children, The Shoemaker is an extract from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, a historical novel set in London and Paris at the time of the French Revolution. Dr. Manette is released from the Bastille, the infamous French prison, French jail, after 18 years. Despite of being innocent, he had been imprisoned due to his involvement in a secret concerning an aristocratic French family. And when he was released from the jail, he was looked after by a faithful servant, Mr. Deveridge. So, children, this extract focuses on the touching meeting between Dr. Manette and his daughter Lucy when she visits him with Mr. Lorry, an old friend. Lucy discovers that her father, whom she had believed to be dead, is alive but lost to the world. So, children, after 18 years of being physically and mentally removed from the world, Dr. Manette has suffered greatly and appears to have lost all sense of time, place, and self. Despite the fact that he is no longer in prison, he still seems buried alive. So, children, let's read the lesson and know how the father and daughter met each other. A broad ray of light fell into the garret. Garret means a top floor or attic room, and showed the workman. Workman was Dr. Manette, with an unfinished shoe upon his lap, pausing in his labor. His few common tools and various scraps of leather were at his feet and on his bench. He had a white beard, raggedly cut, but not very long, a hollow face, and exceedingly bright eyes. The hollowness and thinness of his face would have caused them to look large. Under his yet dark eyebrows and his confused white hair, though they had been really otherwise, but they were naturally large and looked unnaturally so. His yellow rags of shirt lay upon at the throat and showed his body to be withered and worn. He and his old canvas frock and his loose stockings and all his poor tatters of clothes had in a long seclusion means here being away from direct light and air, faded down to such a means dull uniformity means everything looking the same. A dull uniformity of parchment yellow that it would have been hard to say which was which. He had put up a hand between his eyes and the light, and the very bones of it seemed transparent. So he sat with a steadfastly vacant gaze, means a consistently expressionless look. Pausing in his work, he never looked at the figure before him, means he never looked at the man who was standing before him without first looking down on this side of himself, then on that, as if he had lost the habit of associating place with sound. He never spoke without first wondering in his manner and forgetting to speak, as he lost his memory and also forget how to speak, because he spent his 18 years in the jail. So due to that, he lost all his memory and also physical health. Are you going to finish the pair of shoes today? Asked Mr. Deveridge, motioning Mr. Lorry to come forward. Motioning means to make a movement, usually with hand. Mr. Lorry, sorry, um, he, Mr. Deftridge asked Mr. Lorry to come forward. What did you say? Do you mean to finish that pair of shoes today? I can't say that I mean to. I suppose so, so I don't know. But the question reminded him of his work and he bent over it again. Mr. Lorry came silently forward, leaving the daughter by the door. When he had stood for a minute or two by the side of Deftridge, the shoemaker looked up. He showed no surprise at seeing another figure. As Mr. Lorry came forward, but Mr. Manet do not showed no surprise at seeing him, but the unsteady figure of one of his hands strayed to his lips as he looked at it. His lips and his nails were of the same pale lead color, and then the hand dropped to his work, and again he started making shoe, and he once more bent over his shoe. The look and the action had occupied but an instant. You have a visitor, you see, said Monsieur Defarge to the shoemaker. Monsieur means French word for Mr. What did you say? Here is a visitor. The shoemaker looked up as before. He again looked up like before, but without removing a hand from his work. But he was doing his work. Come, said Defarge. Here is Monsieur, who knows a well made shoe when he sees one. Show him that shoe you are working at. Take it, Monsieur. Mr. Lorry took it in his hand. Tell Monsieur what kind of shoe it is and the maker's name. There was a longer pause than usual. Before the shoemaker replied, he says, I forget what it was you asked me. What did you say? I said, couldn't you describe the kind of shoe for Monsieur information? So the shoemaker replied, it is a lady's shoe. It is a young lady's walking shoe. It is in the present mode. Present mode means in a current fashion. I never saw the mode. I have had a pattern in my hand. He glanced at the shoe with some little passing touch of pride. And the maker's name, said Mr. Deftridge. Now that he had no work to hold, he laid the knuckles of the right hand in the hollow of the left and then the knuckles of the left hand in the hollow of the right, and then passed a hand across his bearded chin, and so on in regular changes without a moment's intermission. The task of recalling him from the vacancy into which he always sank when he had spoken was like recalling some very weak person from a swoon or enduring. Swoon means fainting fit, and enduring means here trying very hard in the hope of some disclosure, means hoping to know some secret, to stay the spirit of a fast dying man. Did you know, ask me, did you ask me for my name? Assuredly, I did. 105 North Tower. Is that all? 105 North Tower, with a weary sound that was not a sigh nor a groan. Means sigh means to let out a long deep breath that shows you are tired, sad and disappointed. And groan means to make a deep sad sound. He bent to work again until the silence was again broken. You are not a shoemaker by trade? Asked Mr. Lorry. You are not a shoemaker by trade means you are not a shoemaker by business. The Lorry asked from Dr. Manette, looking steadfastly at him. His haggard eyes turned to Defarge as if he would have transferred the question to him. But as no help came from that quarter, they turned back on the questioner when they had sought the ground. I am not a shoemaker by trade. No, I was not a shoemaker by trade. I learned it here. I taught myself. I asked leave to. He lapsed away. Lapsed means to stop for a short time, even for minutes, ringing those measured changes on his hands the whole time. His eyes came slowly back at last to the face from which they had wandered. When they rested on it, he started and resumed, in a manner of a sleeper that moment awake, reverting to a subject of last night. Reverting means returning to. I asked leave to teach myself, and I got it with much difficulty after a long while, and I have made shoes ever since. As he held out his hand for the shoe that had been taken from him, Mr. Lorry said, still looking steadfastly in his face, Monsieur Manet, do you remember nothing of me? The shoe dropped to the ground, and he sat looking fixedly at the questioner. Monsieur Manet, Mr. Lorry laid his hand upon Defarge's arm. Do you remember nothing of this man? Look at him. Look at me. Is there no old banker, no old business, no old servant, no old time rising in your mind? Monsieur Manet, as the captive of many years sat looking fixedly by turns at Mr. Lorry and at Defarge, some long obli- obli- obliterated marks of an actively intent intelligence in the middle of the forehead gradually forced themselves through the black mist. Black mist means here forgetfulness. Black mist had fallen on him. They were overclouded again. They were fainter. They were gone, but they had been there. And so exactly was the expression repeated on the fair young face of her who had crept along the wall to the point where she could see him, and where she now stood looking at him with hands which at first had been only raised in frightened compassion, if not even to keep him off and shut out the sight of him, but which were now extending towards him, trembling and eagerness to lay the spectral face upon her warm young breast and love it back to life and hope. So exactly was the expression repeated, though in stronger character, on her fair young face, that it looked as though it had passed like a moving light from him to her. She was Lucy. Darkness had fallen on him in its place. He looked at the two less and less attentively, and his eyes in gloomy abstraction. Abstraction means distraction. Sought the ground and looked about him in the old way. Finally, with a deep, long sigh, he took the shoe up and resumed his work. Have you recognized him? Monsieur asked Defarge in a whisper. Yes, for a moment. At first, I thought it quite hopeless, but I have unquestionably seen for a single moment the face that I once knew so well. Shh, let us draw further back. She had moved from the wall of the garret very near to the bench on which he sat. There was something awful in his unconsciousness of the figure that could have put out its hand and touched him as he stopped over his labor. Not a word was spoken, not a sound was made. She stood like a spirit beside him, and he bent over his work. It happened at length that he had occasion to change the instrument in his hand for his shoemaker's knife. It lay on that side of him which was not the side on which she stood. He had taken it up and was stooping to work again. When his eyes caught the skirt of her dress, he raised his and saw her face. The two spectators started forward, but she stayed them with a motion of her hand. She had no fear of his striking at her with the knife, though they had. He started at her with a fearful look, and after a while his lips began to form some words, though no sound proceeded for them.